You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Friday, July 16th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, Star Trek's Jonathan Frakes talks about his love for Maine and his personal work with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, or PanCAN. Toymaker Playmates announces a new licensing deal with Star Trek. Discovery's Noah Averbach-Katz celebrates raising $12,000 for diabetes charity T1 International, and I've got the answer to Tuesday's Trek Trivia. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. The Maine Edge, a Bangor, Maine-based publication, recently caught up with Star Trek The Next Generation actor and renowned director of all sorts of Trek, Jonathan Frakes. Earlier this week, they published an interview that took place just prior to Frakes' return to his home in Maine, the place that he calls the best place in the world. But we're not supposed to know that. Frakes and his wife, Jeannie Francis, split their time between California and the Pine Tree State. But that wasn't the focus of the interview. Much of the discussion focused on Frakes' work with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, or PanCAN. Over the past several months, he's teamed up with fellow Star Trek alumni Armin Shimmerman and Kitty Swink to lead the charge raising funds for early detection and new treatment approaches for the disease. Frakes' brother Daniel died with pancreatic cancer 24 years ago, after surviving for 5 months following his diagnosis. At the time, the survival rate was 1 or 2%. Kitty Swink beat only slightly better odds, having survived pancreatic cancer herself 17 years ago. The ongoing fundraising efforts by Frakes, Shimmerman, and Swink began as early as May of this year with Trek Against Pancreatic Cancer at PanCAN's Purple Stride Los Angeles event. They've raised almost $65,000 to date. According to their website, PanCAN was the first organization dedicated to fighting pancreatic cancer in a comprehensive way, as they fund research, provide patient services, and advocate for federal research funding, among other actions. To find out more, including how to support their efforts, visit pancan.org. And to read more of Jonathan Frakes' interview with the Maine Edge, including all about his love for Maine, his trombone gig with the band Fish, and his cow-shaped mailbox. You can head over to themainedge.com, and that's MAINE edge.com. Next year, Playmates TOYS and Viacom CBS Consumer Products will be boldly going where they haven't gone for a while. Earlier this week, StarTrek.com reported that the two companies announced that Playmates has been awarded the licensing rights to action figures, vehicles, ships, role-play, and other toy categories for all Star Trek properties, bringing brand detail, authentic portrait sculpting, and new product innovations to the range. Playmates intends to launch with a lineup of action figures and accessories from series throughout the Star Trek universe, including Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Star Trek Prodigy, the first Trek series since 1973's Star Trek The Animated Series, to be aimed squarely at kids. Don Vlachis, Executive Vice President of Hardlines and Retail for Viacom CBS Consumer Products, is quoted as saying, "As Star Trek readies to beam into the kids' space with Star Trek Prodigy on Paramount+, we are thrilled to also enter the toy aisle with Playmates, offering a new generations of fans out-of-this-world toys that will allow them to embark on their own Star Trek adventures at home." Referring to Playmates, he added, "The expertise and ingenuity they plan to bring to the figures, ships, and more will elevate the play experience for kids and collectors alike." Now, Playmates is no stranger to Star Trek toys. The company was the master toy licensee for the franchise from 1992 through 1998, launching award-winning action figure collections from the original series, The Next Generation, and Deep Space Nine, and also releasing the official figures from J.J. Abrams' Star Trek 2009 film. To read the full story, beam on over to StarTrek.com, and we'll let you know when the official release dates are announced. Now, I've got more news and the answer to Tuesday's trivia question here in just a moment, but first, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. If there's something interfering with your happiness, or something that's standing between you and your personal goals, BetterHelp can, well, help. Now, BetterHelp is not a crisis line, they're not a self-help service, but what they are is professional counseling done securely online. When you join BetterHelp, they'll match you with a licensed therapist skilled in what you need. You can message them anytime, get timely and thoughtful responses in return, and you can also schedule video or phone sessions all in a way that suits you. For me, that means using their mobile app to chat with my counselor, but you can just as well message them in your browser or, like I said, through video chats or on the phone. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a daily Star Trek news listener, you can get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/DSTN. Star Trek Discovery actor Noah Averbach-Katz is at it again, this time raising an additional $3,000 for T1 International's #InsulinForAll campaign in the fight against type 1 diabetes. T1 International is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to support local communities by giving them the tools they need so that access to insulin and diabetes supplies becomes a reality for all. In December of 2020, Averbach-Katz joined T1 International's Vials of Life campaign. During that campaign, he led the Starfleet #InsulinForAll division of fellow supporters, encouraging fans to donate toward providing affordable insulin for those living with type 1 diabetes. Averbach-Katz himself lives with the disease. Fast forward to the summer of 2021. Averbach-Katz launched his own initiative in support of T1 International. Along with his wife, fellow Star Trek Discovery actor Mary Wiseman, they offered a limited number of signed photos of the couple on the set of Discovery. Supporters also had the option to purchase a unique, fan-made, 3D printed #InsulinForAll Starfleet comm badge. All funds from the sale were donated to T1 International. Last week, Averbach-Katz shared his excitement for the success of the effort on social media, saying, "Finally sent these out today. Thank you to everyone who purchased, shared, and promoted the fundraiser. Together, we raised another $3,000, bringing Trek Twitter's total contribution to T1 International and the fight for insulin for all to over $12,000. I cannot thank you all enough." With the post, the actor included pictures of the photo and comm badge packages ready to be shipped for the fans who supported it. Now, while you can no longer get your hands on the signed photos or the Insulin for All comm badge, it's never too late to join the fight to bring affordable insulin to those who need it. Visit t1international.com to learn more and to donate. And finally today, it's the answer to this week's Trek Trivia. On Tuesday, I asked you, in Star Trek Beyond, the Enterprise crew headed to the Starbase Yorktown, a massive snow globe-like space station that could hold millions of people. But where can you find the very first reference to the name Yorktown in Star Trek? The answer? This is a fun one. Now, while the name Yorktown was used in Star Trek IV, the one with the whales, and of course several Star Trek The Next Generation episodes, the very first use of the name was in Gene Roddenberry's original proposal for Star Trek back in 1964. In the pitch, the USS Yorktown would have been the hero ship of the series. It was only later in development that the name was changed to Enterprise, and the rest, of course, is history or future. For more Trek trivia, tune in next Tuesday. Well, that's it for today's daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and it's written by Chris Peterson and Jack Brown, with additional stories by David Powell and T. Rick Jones. Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. I'm back on Monday with more of the Star Trek news you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Have a wonderful weekend and live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.